Yeah, man, Crash 4, those first two levels, oh my God. I was like, this is about to be one of the best games ever. Like I was, and I'll say I've had a couple moments since then still. Like one of the last stages I just played was one of those like stages in classic fashion of those games where you're like running towards the screen and getting chased by something. And you're like, for whatever reason, you get like stuck in one of those like kind of almost like American Gladiators, like big ball cage things.
Nice.
That they would like run in, and you're just like rolling and mowing everything
Fusion
down.
Frenzy.
Like that was sweet. Yeah, Fusion Frenzy, better touchstone here. But that felt awesome. Like I seriously like, holy shit, this is sweet, like out loud to myself while I was playing it.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that does not happen too often. But I also have, because of like the checkpoints and some of the annoying stuff, I've been like, fuck this game out loud at a couple points. Like the checkpoints are like few, and I did this one section and then died. I was like, are you kidding me? There wasn't a checkpoint between here and there? Holy shit. Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines
Hey there.
and Randall Nolery.
Hey, folks.
And we've got the full crew back in the house once again here. We had just John and I last week, but yeah, we got all sorts of video gaming in. Anything new since last time around, guys, or just dive right into the action?
There's new stuff, but then I'd be wasting it for future episodes, so I'm saving it. I don't have enough time to give away the new stuff. That's important material.
Precisely. But yeah, why don't we kick it over to you here, Randall, to start off and get a little update on your resolution game for this year.
Yeah, less new stuff, but still new in the overall scheme of things. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. Man, I am hooked. It is just.
I've been seeing you getting on there.
Like if I've got downtime and I'm like, especially, I'm in that zone, the NBA 2K zone. I still haven't bought the new version of that. So this is that. Yakuza 0 is NBA 2K to me right now.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
Yeah, it is. I love this game. It's so just default. I think I've got 45 plus hours in on this sucker. And I'm still only on chapter 5. I have no idea how many chapters there are, but this is how I fuck around in this game. And it just like I think I talked about last time briefly that I didn't realize there's 2 playable characters. Like, oh, that's super cool, and then like flips between them, and then now in chapter 5, it's like, oh, you just thought this game was like a silly Japanese RPG, with beat 'em up elements and stuff. Oh no, like here's this whole like real estate type of sub campaign. It's so good.
Okay.
So now I can do my NBA 2K GM mode basically in a sense, which is good for me. And so I'm doing that. Obviously, I stopped anything else with the game, and I'm exclusively just doing the real estate royale now, and have taken over the Leisure King area and the Electronics King area so far.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, I am the. I'm a property magnate. I am the awful billionaire buying up your downtown. It's me.
And how is it just like your nature to get hooked on this type of mechanic, or is it like relatively deep enough to like actually get hooked on?
Both. But not so deep that it's intimidating, I guess I would say.
Okay.
In this case, which is to Yakuza's credit.
Yeah.
Like there's layers. I guess I should break it down. So you go around the main area of Yakuza 0 is Kamurocho, and it's like a whole district, kind of a fake district of Tokyo sort of approach or whatever. And a lot of it is like 1980s rundown city. Who would want to live in the dirty, evil, scary city? And it's like, but then, as you go through and you're running past these businesses, maybe you're going into some of these restaurants and interacting with some of these people and you're completing sub-stories. Well, the game kind of pays you off by some of those sub-stories you've completed now turn into characters that you can leverage for this real estate mode, either as managers of said real estate buildings that you buy, or quote unquote security in a certain district or area to take care of the hooligans that might be messing up your district. Keeping the streets clean. And raking in that dough for you from these businesses, the revenues. So it becomes a kind of monopoly with a gritty edge to it, kind of. And you're just buying up these random buildings, but they're not inexpensive. They're pretty expensive to buy. Like at first I'm like, how the hell am I going to get like 100 million yen, like to buy this one building? And I'm scraping by trying to pull together like 40 million yen half the time. But then it just starts multiplying how you make this money once you get into real estate. Surprise. It kind of works the same way here.
Yakuza, most realistic game.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Just steeped in realism. Yakuza, the series, yeah, for sure.
Yakuza's Zillow.
As you learn,
pretty good.
You learn breakdancing, combat stylings, and things of that nature, right? Yeah,
yeah.
And you still have the main man Kiryu, he's a sweet dumb boy, but now he's becoming one of the 5 billionaires of Kamurocho in the real estate market, and I'm just having a blast with it. You kind of have to wait for timers to cool down as you collect. You have to rank up these buildings that you bought so you can collect more revenue, but the buildings have different themes. If they're a restaurant versus like a parlor or an arcade place, or whatever different type of or pachinko or whatever type of business that they are. So then some of those characters that you've recruited also have specialties where, if you say, I want this specific character to help me upgrade this because their specialty is restaurants. Well, it might cost more, but that increases the rank from rank D to rank C, and now you're making more money in that area, and you're increasing the percentage of that district that you own, and so you become the king of that borough, as it were.
Yeah.
So it's good. And that's just one element. That's just one other onion layer to the Yakuza experience. I can still go out and fuck around and beat up hooligans and, do weird side missions with perverts and stuff. And all that's still there and available to you. But or go play, Space Harrier or whatever. But yeah, it's good. It's real good, this Yakuza 0 game. I love it.
I'm so glad that you got into it this deep.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I didn't know if I would or not. I don't know why that was the case when it's a Sega thing, and it's a beat 'em up at its one of its cores. But here we are.
Yeah, I love it. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was talking about it before we started recording. I was just at the video game shop the other day, and I can't think of the name of this game. There was this PS4 game that looked like it was a Yakuza game almost, but it wasn't. But it was it was published by Sega, and it looked like some kind of beat 'em up action RPG.
Was it called Shenmue?
It wasn't Shenmue. It was like, it had like kind of like it wasn't something as generic or as like on the nose as like a dragon.
Yeah,
it was something like really I'm gonna have to look it up at some point while we're talking here, but it looked, I almost bought it because I was like, oh, Sega, beat 'em up, PS4 kind of looks like it's got those Yakuza Shenmue vibes. Like, I'm kind of curious to check this out. Like, and it said it was a PS4 exclusive at the top, the little, reminds me of, I feel like you don't see that much anymore. Like the N64 days with like the little tear away on the corner of the box. Baby. It's like only on N, man. Like you don't really see that anymore. So
I still have my Resident Evil 4 copy that is exclusive to GameCube. Did you guys know that? It's an exclusive GameCube game, Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, wasn't that part of like those 4 or 5 like Capcom games?
The Capcom 5,
be, like, GameCube exclusives, yeah. And I think only one of them actually stayed exclusive to the GameCube.
P&O3 maybe?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, all right. How far along would you say you feel like you are in the game itself? Like, do you feel like you're halfway?
I don't think so. It just seems like there's a lot of this, and there's definitely an overarching story to this that it keeps wanting me to interact with, and I just continue to just do my own thing and min-max all the other fun stuff about it before I bother. Like, it's another thing that I do when I have no brain is like, it'll give you extra points to upgrade stuff by eating everything at a restaurant. So now I'm, checking off all those boxes by eating at the restaurant, because it also refills your health after you might have got hit once or twice from a hooligan. And so like, there's all those things that I'm doing, but the overarching story doesn't feel like it's anywhere close to being done in Chapter 5 to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like there's a lot more there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know, anything more? I'm sure we'll get probably some more updates on that as you continue to polish that one off, but anything more on that one before we kick it over to John here?
No, I'll save some of the other stuff. There's one element that I got into that I'm terrible at, and I'm probably not going to interact with as much, but I'll save that for next time. We'll save that nugget for later. Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we move on, I looked it up real quick. The name of that game is called Fist of the North Star: Lost Paradise.
Ooh.
And it's developed by Ryu Ga Gotoku, known for the Yakuza series, or developed by that studio, apparently.
Interesting.
But apparently Fist of the North Star is like a manga that it's
it's been around forever.
It's an old
so I'm definitely kind of curious to scoop that up if it's got some of that
history there.
Sega energy.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. Well, anyways, before we get too sidetracked here, why don't we kick it over to John for some of the stuff that you've been playing lately?
Sure. So I've been playing a ton of shooters recently, and over the past year or so, I think anybody who's listened to the podcast has heard me play throughout, the Master Chief Collection or the Doom games, any of those over the years. And recently I've been trying like my hand at a lot of other, series that I haven't played through, but in order to do that, is making some space on my Steam Deck, deleting some games so that I could fit some of these larger modern shooters on that take up so much of the space. And in doing so, I was going through my library, seeing what games I haven't played in years, and, just trying to like keep things fresh and take things off that I know I'm not going to play. And one game that I had installed earlier and played a little bit of was Roboquest, which was a roguelike first-person shooter in the style of Borderlands, but with a lot more like robot kind of setting and less of that like kind of grating Borderlands humor, and the presentation just felt a lot more up my alley than when I tried playing the Borderlands games and was not really digging them at all. But it was a game that I bounced off initially, but before deleting it off of my Steam Deck, I wanted to try it one more time. And I decided to do it on the easiest difficulty, which was called Discovery Mode, just because I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll see what this game has, and like if it's worth my time, or if I can delete it and move on. And playing it on the easiest difficulty, like, instantly endeared every single thing it was trying to do to me. And like,
heck yeah,
it's like a lot of really good mechanics. It also just kind of it wasn't a live service game, but it like either the development team shuttered or closed down like ongoing support of this game. So now it's quote unquote a dead game, but I was still just playing through the roguelike, which is, you know, kind of infinitely replayable. There are different paths that you can go down, and every time that you do it, you have different guns that you can pick up, and they have different rarities, and you're upgrading your perks, and you have different classes. So there's a lot of like really good mechanics to keep the gameplay fresh. And like, even though it is still like a very focused gameplay loop, I was having so much fun playing it and just trying every gun, seeing every new enemy, and like if you kill enough enemies with a gun, then you'll get a little card of that, and it doesn't do anything, but it's in your like collection screen. So of course I'm like, well, I have so few kills with this gun, I need to use it so that I can get this little trading card so that I can rotate this 3D model around. Like, it's scratching my brain in a lot of ways. And even though like I don't think the movement is necessarily as well done as it like wants to be, like it had some platforming and even some like head bonk, like jumping off of enemies to like spring you to the next one, but there isn't a lot of good level design that makes use of it. So it's kind of an uneven game, but I was enjoying my time a lot with it. I actually just saw credits on it before we recorded. So like,
nice.
But I'm still gonna keep doing more runs because there are more classes that I haven't unlocked, more features, and it's got little secrets and other paths that I haven't unlocked by like finding the key card or whatever, doing whatever sub quest to unlock it. So it's very fun, and I've been enjoying it a lot, even if it's not necessarily like, I think, a great game by any means of the imagination. But in addition to that, I also went back because it was a roguelike shooter that I was having fun with. I was like, I really liked the Splatoon 3 roguelike DLC, the side order DLC that they released for, I think, at least a year ago, because I initially played it in March of 2024. I don't know when I brought it up on the podcast, but it is such a good roguelike in a way that really...
Yeah.
It really infuriates me how good the game is, because in order to play it, you need to have Splatoon and have bought, I think, a full, like, I probably was like a $40 DLC or something to that effect. And like, there's no reason why it needs to be attached to the game. It could have been a standalone game that you could just have and not have to get Splatoon 3. But they decided, like Nintendo decided, all of their shooter IP projects have to be in this ongoing service game that like has battle pass mechanics, but it doesn't. I don't think you can even buy the battle pass. Like, I don't think you can spend money in microtransactions in Splatoon. It just like has these shitty mechanics that I hate. And like,
yeah, like has microtransactions without the transactions, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
It's like forcing you to like have the routine of logging into this game every day. And like,
no.
I hate all of that. And it's infuriating because the roguelike DLC is just so good. It is such a like well-crafted game that like incentivizes you to learn how every weapon works, and then you get different loadouts and different perks, and like every run feels different. And I had like a really like nail biter run on a weapon that I was doing really poorly on before, and like everything about it is just so like tailorly made, balanced to be such like a perfect roguelike experience in the Splatoon universe. And I don't think anybody's ever going to play this. Like, I can't recommend someone buy the base game of Splatoon 3 and then buy this full price DLC for like, this is a ridiculous like restriction of access to this game that I think is incredible. And it's infuriating that like, it's just like the structure of how games are made nowadays. And like, this sucks.
Yeah, it's almost like a built-in expectation a lot of times for like these AAA releases. And to your point, I remember with the Splatoon 2, they released that like Octo expansion that was like kind of like a campaign, like single player based around like, it looked like kind of not crazy precision platforming, but it looked really cool and it caught my attention. But then I was like tempted to buy it, and I think it was like a $20 DLC or something like that. But I was like, all right, I already spent $60 on Splatoon 2, and I pretty much have barely played this game, and I just can't justify spending $20 more on this game that I haven't even touched. So like I totally know what you mean. Whereas for whatever reason, if it was a standalone, if it would have been like the Splatoon Octo, missions or something for $20, I would have been way more tempted to buy it. And I don't know why, but knowing that like I have to keep my physical copy of Splatoon 2 to be able to then play that Octo expansion, or at least purchase it digitally or something,
and then worry
like
if,
you said, there's no reason for it to be separate.
Like later on.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to pull that out separate. And might, like, at least me, I might have bought at least one of the two of these various, because this roguelike one for Splatoon 3 for side order sounds awesome.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's upsetting how good it is. And the soundtrack is unbelievable too. It's like remixes of like other Splatoon tracks, and also like in other Nintendo songs. Like there's a song that like has a very high pitched sped up sample of the GameCube start like menu screen.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so good. Cool everything about it is so good. And like they put so much effort into it. And I don't think anybody's ever going to play this. And it's infuriating.
It's especially odd when, there is a precedent for Nintendo spinning off like we're asking them to do here. They did do this with like some of the Kirby minigame stuff and other things in the not too distant past. Even like 3DS into early mid Switch era, they were still doing this sort of thing. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what the deal is.
Who knows?
Like you said, it's almost like they feel like they have to like fit that mold of like that free to play log in every day kind of thing, even though it's not that kind of game. It like kind of is. And like,
here's how we justify keeping your attention.
No. Not like that.
But I'm still going to keep playing it.
Yeah.
It's really good. But
the hooks are there. You didn't have to add all this other.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll grab Splatoon 3. Like I saw, for what it's worth, like Splatoon 2 was super cheap at the game shop when I was there the other day. I shouldn't say super cheap, but like I'm used to seeing like a used copy of a Nintendo game for $55 instead of $60, or something like that. And it was like down into the 20s or something like that, which felt fair.
Yeah.
All things considered. And I guess if you're good there, John, to just kind of transition into, I was at the game shop the other day and just kind of browsing around and ended up scooping up. I actually have been going, I've been working 4 days a week lately for the most part. So like a lot of times, not every week, but maybe like every 2, 3, 4 weeks, I'll just be like, I haven't been to the game shops in a while. And I'll pick like an area where there's like maybe 2 or 3 that I can hit up and stop over to. In the last like few weeks or month or so, I've hit up 2 or 3 of them and grabbed a pretty good chunk of games. And I've lately been really kind of leaning into like the PS4 for whatever reason. And I've been grabbing a couple other random things, but I've been really kind of wanting to kind of eyeing up a PS5 and upgrading as of late. I've just been kind of looking online and waiting for maybe a Black Friday deal. Or Randall, right before we jumped on, mentioned Sony's doing a little online 25% off. So I very well may upgrade very soon here, but in turn, I've been kind of bulking out my PS4 collection. Just have a few games that I scooped up the other day that I popped in because I've just been getting in the habit, because a lot of times I'll buy a used game, never pop it in, never try it, and then I'll go to play it years later, and then I'm like, wait, it doesn't work. What's going on? So I've been trying to get in the habit of like, okay, let me at least pop this disc in, make sure it reads, make sure everything's working okay. So the first game I popped in that I scooped up the other day, and I got this for like $6 or $7, Geometry Wars 3, which I didn't even know this series was still going on.
Yeah.
Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions Evolved apparently is the full name of this game. The first one, this was like one of the first like indie games that I can think of, and I don't even know how indie it is, because at least now, Yeah, like this one's published by Sierra. I don't know if it was originally. I feel like they probably just bought out the license.
Not sure.
Good
Yeah,
question.
maybe they jumped on publishing it, or maybe they jumped on, just buying out the IP later on down the road.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, it started out on the Xbox Live Arcade. I think there was even like a spin-off on the Wii that came out, like as like a physical actual game.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had made it all the way to the third release. And I popped this one in, and it's really no different than the first one from what I remember. It's twin stick shooter, super kind of futuristic, but like old school retro at the same time. And like this one adds some like 3D elements where like you're almost like, at least I played through maybe like 5 or 10 stages just to get a feel of things. And it's got like some stages kind of like almost like, Mario Galaxy style, where it's like maybe like the shape of like a pill or something like that. And you're able to like go around it in full 3D. Whereas like I think the first game was all on like 2D kind of single screen.
Yeah,
Maybe
like
there
a
was some
rectangle.
scrolling, but like, yeah, like just like a shape that you were within.
Yeah.
And this is definitely seeming like it's throwing at like some 3D shapes at you that you're able to kind of fully traverse around them as if they were like a planet. Although it's definitely giving you some regular levels that are just on like a, just a 2D rectangle. But they're throwing just like some little twists. It's just got like it'll be a rectangle, but it's kind of like a twisted and warped angle to it, so it just adds like a little extra visual flair to it. Otherwise, it's just a twin stick shooter with nothing crazy going on, but it looks like there's tons of modes, like challenge mode, campaign mode. Like it just seemed like there were tons of, like, if you like this kind of gameplay, you could just keep going and going and going and going.
The core gameplay is just so
like,
dialed in, though. It is what it is, and that's kind of very nice in a sense,
Yeah, and I kind of miss that. There's not too many games. Like a lot of games are always like, and sometimes I love it. It's like here's this classic arcade or this classic gameplay mechanic with a twist, and I love that a lot of times. But sometimes it's cool to just be like, here's just that classic arcade mechanic, just like with all the modern conveniences of like modern video games, but not really doing anything all that much more beyond what those games were trying to do back in the 80s.
Just
or whatever.
better visual effects, really, like more stuff.
Better visual effects and like tighter controls, and that's like all it's adding to the equation. And then the other game that I popped in for I actually ended up playing probably like the first hour of the game was Dead Rising. I picked this up on PS4 as well. This is also a game back to like the early days of the Xbox 360 era. At least to me, I'm picturing this as like seeing it on the shelf.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Like that, slightly translucent green case.
Very associated with
hits.
360. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%. And maybe that's just from our Best Buy days, Randall seeing it on the shelf and stuff.
Yep.
But this is a game that I never got around to playing for whatever reason. And I will say, booting up this PS4 version, I was like, wait a minute, did this game come out in like the PS2 era? Because it really doesn't look that good. You can tell it's like a very early Xbox 360, that era title. But once I got going, it plays fine enough. They have apparently, which I didn't realize, but they've apparently released like it's called Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered, and it's like a fully redone version of the game where they apparently have like redone some of the voice acting, some of the whatever. It seems like it's mixed opinions. Like some people are like, oh, I miss the, campiness or the this or that of the original. And some people are like, hey, I like the new one just as good. It's a little different, but take it or leave it. But nonetheless, I was a little bit off the bat, was like, okay, this is more primitive than I was expecting, but it was a little bit more than I was expecting. I kind of thought this game was just like basically an arcade beat 'em up, but like with zombies. And I didn't realize there was like a little bit more of like a story and like a campaign, and you're like a photojournalist trying to like solve a mystery. Like the game starts out, the opening cutscene, it's actually kind of hilarious. You're like flying in on this helicopter, and you're like, it's kind of cool. It's like you're not doing any combat, you're actually like just taking pictures, and you're trying to like figure out what's going on. But then at one point you're like fly over in this helicopter at this rooftop, and you're kind of arguing with the helicopter guy that's flying you in. He's like, you're just like, just trust me, we gotta go over here. And then there's this like lady on the rooftop, and she's like shooting at all these zombies, and your guy still is like oblivious to this. He knows there's something going on, but he's like, Frank West is his name. And he's like, he's got the scoop, but he doesn't really know that it's a zombie situation. But there's this woman on the rooftop, and she's getting chased by these zombies, and she's shooting a few of them. And then you can tell she's out of ammo. And like, I got the impression, I was like, oh, we're going to swoop in on the helicopter, and she's going to jump, grab the legs of the helicopter and she's going to join the party, maybe another playable character. And then she just gets mauled by these zombies and they like dive off the top of the building and she just dies at the, presumably dies at the bottom of the, when they hit the ground. And then he's like, all right, take me to Main Street or something. Like no reaction to this woman that just died right in front of his eyes. It was just like hilarious to me, like the campiness of like the B movie horror vibes that I just wasn't quite expecting. And then there's just a little more going on than I realized. I was like a little bit more invested. You couldn't skip the cutscenes, so I was forced to watch them. But in turn, like, because I was just trying to like get a quick taste of the game, and I wasn't planning on like getting into it. But I ended up playing for probably like an hour or so, and granted, a lot of that was just getting into the opening bits. But I'm looking forward to playing more of this game. It does seem like it's just like mindless fun, but I'm curious on like, it seems like a game that you're meant to play through multiple times and like figure out, and try different things each time, almost like an early roguelike a little bit, or an early, modern take on a roguelike in a way.
Yeah, I remember there being some like spin-offs, and speaking of like bite-sized versions, I have a recollection of maybe this Case Zero. I think I'm trying to look at the different versions of Dead Rising that came out, but I feel like there was one of these that like you could buy at a discounted price, and I grabbed that at the time too. Although I, of course, barely played any of it in the moment. But
I have a vague recollection of that too.
Yeah. But always one that was interesting to me as a Capcom, developed thing.
Yeah, but between it being Capcom and apparently they've made like 4 of these games in this series now up to this point, not even counting, like there's Dead Rising 4, so not even counting that Code Zero or whatever you were talking about there.
Yeah.
So just the fact that it's been like that long ongoing is cool. And then the other game I just wanted to give a quick shout out to here is Crash Bandicoot 4. And the subtitle is It's About Time, which is a really cool like double meaning, because it plays into like some time travel mechanics, and then also just cool that it's like, oh, the 4th game in the series, long after the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. And granted, there's been tons of Crash Bandicoot games since then, and I was a little bit nervous because like this one's still published by Activision, who I think is who published all those previous ones on like PS2 and GameCube and all the ones that have come out after the original PlayStation trilogy. But I saw that this one was developed, I think, at least in part by Toys for Bob. And I know that they had a hand. I thought they did the Crash like trilogy remake or remaster, but they didn't. They did the Spyro remaster.
Oh, okay.
But I thought they had done both of them. And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense that they said, hey, you did a good job on those, so try your hand at making a new game in the series. And I will say it's a lot of fun. The first 2 levels, I was like, holy shit, this game is amazing. I was like going nuts. And
always
then after
play
that,
past the first couple levels.
Exactly. After that, it kind of winds down a little bit, and like it's got like Crash just isn't quite as fluid as I want him to be. You got to kind of like not necessarily tiptoe your way through the levels, but like you really have to like the platforming is pretty precise.
Yeah.
And they do add a nice little touch of like you have a little yellow like circle that's like essentially your shadow under your character, and you can do a double jump that they added into the game, which feels a little bit clunky, like not clunky, but it doesn't feel great, but it at least lets you like, oh, I'm not quite lined up where I thought I was, so I can hit the double jump and try to tweak my jump a little bit. And then they added also the effect of, I'm playing on like the modern difficulty setting. You can play on the retro setting, which gives you a set amount of lives. But if you play on modern, you just have to get to whatever checkpoint, and then every time you die, it just keeps track of how many times you died up in the top right corner. But then otherwise, you just keep respawning at the same checkpoint that you were at. Because sometimes the checkpoints I've found can be a little, even with the modern setting, can be a little bit frustrating. Like, okay, I'm like, this checkpoint is like kind of right before this like grinding rail section, but like I have to do this whole extra run up before that, which isn't difficult at all, but it's just like,
tedious.
I'm making dumb little mistakes. Yeah, tedious, and I'm like rushing through it because I just want to get to the grinding rail thing. But I'll say like the presentation is just top notch. It feels awesome. Like I haven't felt like this excited about just like the presentation of a video game in a while. And it feels like it's definitely kind of channeling some like Donkey Kong Country Returns
Nice.
or Tropical Freeze, even with like the challenge and the difficulty. Like it's
a pretty game.
Yeah, it's really good looking. And I had been putting it off because like I bought the trilogy and talked about it not too long ago on the podcast, or a save it for the cast or whatever. And then this one was always like $30 or something used, you know, and for whatever reason, this last time I went to the game shop, it was only 15 or something around there, that range. And I was like, man, that feels like a fair price for this game. I'll give it a try. And I'm really not disappointed at all that I scooped it up. I'm really, really pumped and would be honestly curious to see if these guys would go on to like make a Spyro follow up or, you know, make something else out of one of those other like PS1 era mascot games or a Sly Cooper. Or, I don't know. Like they definitely are nailing that like cartoony visuals, but with the HD, you know, high resolution look. And
can I give you bad news?
On.
Would you like bad news, Kevin?
Go ahead.
Toys for Bob was under the Activision umbrella, so they were purchased by Xbox. And, their next game, per Wikipedia, is to be announced. It's an Untitled Xbox Game Studios game. Their last release was in 2023 when they helped on some Call of Duty stuff. So might be holding your breath on any reality of something coming that way.
So much for these PS1 to PS5 reincarnations. At least not from Toys for Bob, but they knocked it out of the park on this one. And from the little bit I played of the Spyro trilogy, they knocked it out of the park on that too.
Nice.
But I feel like they just really captured the energy of the Crash Bandicoot series. And I'm not somebody who's like a diehard fan, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. You know, I played them over at my cousin's growing up.
Yeah, but they're fun.
Never had any of them growing up, but they were always fun. And there's just solid platformers, and they're way tougher than I ever realized. Like, especially if you're trying to go to like get all the boxes or get all the secrets or, you know, do stuff like that. But yeah, this game is just really, really good. I would even go so far as to say it's like the best of the 4 games in the series after having just dabbled in the other 3. You know, nowhere near having played through all of them, but I guess I've played about the equivalent amount of each of the 3 of them now at this point, and I've definitely had the most fun with the first like world and a little more of this one here. So
noted. It's
definitely
on Game
recommend
Pass.
checking it out. If
I'm gonna check it out that way.
Then definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, definitely. But I don't know, anything else you guys want to chat about before we wrap things up for the evening here?
I do have a little addendum on the Roboquest, because it was bugging me. I was like, why did I think that they never was a like games as service, and that literally is in the release that they said that this was never meant to be a games as service game. The last release, the news thing was just them saying it's like, oh yeah, we're just not making any more new content for the game, and it's like, oh well, then that just means that you're done with the game. Like you've have a complete game that you can buy. And I was like, oh, that's just nice. That's
that. Yeah. A little off-putting, but in a good way, in the modern context. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you
That's
have
awesome.
like a realistic development schedule that ends at some point. Oh, cool.
Yeah, wait, you're not going to continue supporting this game indefinitely? Maybe that's a good thing. You know?
Yeah.
Good things can end.
Yes.
Good deal. Good deal. But yeah, I think we can probably wrap things up there for this week. And as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com. Look us up anywhere else. Just look up Pursuing Pixels. And otherwise, we'll catch you next week. And until then, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So I booted up Maui Mallard and Cold Shadow just because that's like a
the Donald Duck
particularly
ninja game where he's got a dad Hawaiian shirt on. Yeah,
and it's like a really good looking game.
Yeah.
Like I think I had seen it on one of those when I was like just had those SNES drunk videos on in the background a few weeks back.
Yeah,
and I just remember thinking like, holy shit, that game looks amazing. But so weird that like because I was trying to find the ROM for it. And in all the other regions, it's called like Donald Duck something starring in whatever. But in America, it's lit. The game is just called Maui Mallard in Cold Shadow. Nothing else. And how are you supposed to know that Donald Duck is in this game?
Donald Duck's not cool anymore. You know what's cool? Ninjas.
because it almost like has a little bit of like a Darkwing Duck kind of vibe.
Yeah.
A little bit. But great. The animations in that game are out of control.
It's funny you say that because I'm literally I was watching a YouTube video within the last couple of weeks, and now I'm in the market for Donald Duck Going Quackers. Sorry for the Dreamcast. Even though there's a Nintendo 64 version, I'm gonna get the Dreamcast version.